Alistair Greig is Professor of Marine Engineering at University College London. Alistair, just help us here. What do we know about the Titan sub and the voyage it was on?
That it was on a trip down to visit the Titanic, and that communications were lost when it was about two-thirds of the way down. And since then, people have been searching for it.
And what about the vessel itself? I mean, is this a well-known piece of equipment? Are there many of them? Is it a prototype? What more do we know?
This, I think, was uniquely built for this purpose, but I'm not particularly familiar with this submersible.
Is it possible for the sub to have resurfaced somewhere else and that it is not deep in the ocean somewhere?
That's quite possible. That's one of the challenges, is that the researchers are looking in two places. They're looking on the seabed and also on the Atlantic surface. It has a very robust way of releasing weights to come up under its own buoyancy, so it doesn't require power to come back up to the surface, and that's the normal way of coming up. But if it's lost communication, it'll be on the surface, very difficult to see, because as it is a submersible, it's neutral point, which means it floats just at the surface. Most of it's below the surface, just a small amount will be above the surface. It's not like a boat that sits on the surface. And it's about the size of a transit van, 6-7 meters long. So spotting it from the air will be quite a challenge.
You see, that'll be rather difficult to understand for those of us who are non-engineers and non-scientists, because you kind of think the world is easily mappable. We've all got sat-nav, and we all know about the satellites and radar and the rest of it. The US Coast Guard now says this area is going to be widened. Just how difficult will this rescue operation be in such a big area?
It will be very challenging, particularly if it's on the seabed. Locating it on the seabed, and it won't be a case of seeing it, it will be a case of hearing it, as they'll be using sonar. There may well be a pinger on the submersible, or the crew will be tapping on the hull to make a noise so it can be detected. But we don't know how smooth or rough the seabed is. It could be hidden, and there's a lot of debris down there, of course, from the Titanic itself, which will confuse the picture.
And if the cavalry do come to the rescue, I mean, presumably there are other submarine vessels that are capable of getting to the deepest depths of this area.
Yes, they are, because that's how the Titanic was found in the first place. They were remote-operated vehicles and manned vehicles that went down there to observe it and to film it. But they are not on site, so they will have to be transferred from wherever they are now to the location and then deployed down to the deck, find the submersible, attach something to it probably, and then bring it up. Unfortunately, each of those stages takes time.
And as you say, time is of the essence for those passengers on board. I mean, what kind of timeline are we looking at?
Well, I think as we've heard, that they have about an emergency air supply of 70 to 90 hours. One hopes the crew are doing everything they can to maximise the duration of that by minimising their oxygen consumption.